All right, guys, we'll add more people should they start to join us. But, Coach, obviously, let's start with Wednesday night's game against Northern Illinois. Just kind of your thoughts on the big victory, what you saw from the tape here early on, and just kind of your initial assessments off of that big win.
Yeah, I mean, really proud of the guys, really proud of the staff. Obviously, a lot went into that. It was a great moment that was created. I mean, as Alan wrote about in his piece, first time in 50 years, I believe it was, right? You got the number one team in the West, number one team in the East, here in Dick Stadium in November. And, these are the moments that we've worked really hard to create ever since we got here collectively as a staff and most importantly, the kids. And to go out and capitalize on that and to come away with the win, that's the most important thing. To be sitting here in sole possession of the East and to control our own destiny is everything that we work for. And guys did a great job coming in, and taking confidence from the good and really leaning into the areas where we can be better as we continue to go forward. And now the sole focus, we got to relock in, right? Get our minds back right. And everything gets dialed in towards another championship effort and another championship performance that, against a really dangerous and a really good team in Central Michigan going up there. Always hard in this conference to play on the road. And we got to have a great week of preparation to go do it again.
Let's clear off the deck from NIU. Let's start with Alan Moff. Any questions for you guys of the Record Courier coming out of the big win against the Huskies?
Glad to see you read my stuff, Coach.
Yes,
just talk about, looked like a lot of those plays were really well blocked offensively. How did it look on film?
Yeah, I mean, the guys did a great job, executing the plan. As we talked a little bit about, I was about to say Saturday night. What was it? Wednesday night. Afterwards, they came out, and again for the third week in a row, our opponent played us differently than what we had seen on tape. But we were able to get the answers, and when we settled in, again, credit to the guys, credit to the staff of making the necessary in-game adjustments, and the kids executing and allowing our speed to get in space and for them to go make plays and to do the things that they're capable of doing.
How about, pass defense wise? Obviously, I got a big day. What did you see there that you can get better at and that type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing with it, Alan, is just our technique and our fundamentals, but knowing and understanding going into it, the number one thing that we always talk about, and we said, for 4 years on here, is that we have to kill the run. And our guys did that. You go into the game and they were averaging over 250 yards per game against really good opponents. And for our kids to hold them to only 130 rushing yards, you got to commit numbers. You got to commit bodies to do that. And there were some explosive plays, no doubt, that will get cleaned up. And we all know that we got to be better, players and coaches alike, with that. But, the main thing around here that we talk about all the time is that we want to kill the run and we want to generate turnovers. And we did that again. And we've consistently done that, so there's a give and a take to it all. And, we got guys on the edge that we trust, that we put in one-on-one situations that we know will consistently make plays. And we'll do that as we go forward with it. So, again, really proud of the way that we stopped the run. And that was the main thing. We really put an emphasis on that. And because of that, our defense had a really strong effort against a really good offensive team that allowed us to do what we needed to do to win and to stay in sole possession and sole control of what we need to do going forward.
Going to switch gears a little bit on you here. There's some word about some possible expansion to the MAC. I know obviously you got a lot of things going on right now, but if you've given any thought to that, or your initial impressions if that might happen?
It's something that I can't control, Alan, and it's way above my pay grade. So whatever happens, however the landscape changes, obviously we know with what's been going on in college football, it's a possibility. If it happens, I'll react to it when it happens. Right now, it's a lot of hearsay, and I got no say in that. So I'm just working to refocus and get the boys ready for Central Michigan, and all my attention's there.
I got you. I had to ask why I had you here. I appreciate it, Coach.
I understand. No problem.
Alan, any other questions regarding NIU? Let's go over to Jack. Jack, any questions from coming out of Wednesday's game?
Yeah, Coach, once again, your offensive line keeps improving every week. I think they get better and better every week. Just talk a little bit about their improvement and how they're able to, get better week to week.
Well, it starts with really the foundational principle, our number one core value, right, that we've harped on from the beginning, and the pride that we take in developing our guys year round, and I think it's a credit to them and the work that they do, but the understanding across the board in all three phases, we continue to show marked improvements in critical areas of the game. And that's a championship trait, right? We talk a lot on these calls week in and week out. There's certain kind of markers that you can look to that, that point to good teams and winning performances and teams that consistently get better and, are playing their best football at this point in time. You want to be peaking at the right time. And that group put together a really strong effort. Obviously, when you can run the ball the way that we did and to keep Dustin upright on 30 throws, really impressive. Great work by them. The effort and the energy that the kids are putting into it to get better. I think it's pretty cool, the competitive depth that's been created there. It makes all those guys better and pushes them day in and day out in practice.
And one more, did anything jump out at you when you watched the film or when you were down on the sideline, both positive and negative from Wednesday's game that either look to correct or carry into this week?
I'll tell you what, no matter if it's the first play or the last play in all three phases, I love the way our kids compete in all three phases. There's obviously plenty of things that we need to clean up, technique, fundamental wise, and call wise, as far as us coaches in all three phases as well, where we can be better. But at the end of the day, it's a great eraser when you're playing with great attitude and great effort, no matter if it's the first play or the last play, right? And our kids did that, from snap 1 to snap 100, whatever it was in each phase of the game. And I tell you what, if we're going to do that consistently, and we've shown that we'll do that consistently, that's where we get a little extra caffeine this week, and let's pour into our kids and go, and we'll rest when this thing's done. But that continually jumps out, right? Like the energy and enthusiasm and the effort and the attitude that our kids play with, they really, the past few weeks to me, have, grown from that Western Michigan week and have really just enjoyed playing ball again and cutting it loose and pushing their chips all in and realizing the rare opportunity that they've created and the finite amount of time that they have left with only 3 weeks guaranteed, and the hunger and desire to create more time together. That jumps off each and every time we get the opportunity to go compete.
All right, guys, let's focus our attention over to Central Michigan. Coach, when you look at the game tape, obviously a big win over Western last weekend for the Chips. What kind of jumps out at you?
Pimpleton, 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 Pimpleton. And then their front four, which is top 25 in the country in sacks and TFLs. That jumps off the tape. Pimpleton single-handedly last week, 2 punt returns for a touchdown in the first half, accounted for an offensive touchdown single-handedly, obviously with the help of his teammates. But he's a game changer. The quarterback, ever since they made the change and Daniel Richardson has taken over, he's been distributing the football really well. He's been operating that thing. And their tailback, who's a redshirt freshman, one of the newcomers in the league last year. Dynamic skill, but Pimpleton jumps off the tape. He did when we were preparing for Northern Illinois, because obviously Northern Illinois had played him the week prior, so you see it, and he's explosive, and they use him in a lot of different ways. So we got to account for him. And then their front four is really, really disruptive. Again, you got the reigning defensive player of the year over there at end, and it doesn't matter who he's going against, whether it's the Bayou Bengals of LSU or Northern Illinois or Western Michigan. He is disruptive, play in and play out. And because of that, again, they're top 25 in the country in terms of sacks and TFLs. So we got to be on our P's and Q's. And again, each one of these tests, each one of these challenges, week in and week out, especially this time of year in this conference where there's great coaches and great players, the stakes go up, and you got to push your chips all in and be ready to go.
Alan, you have any questions for Coach regarding Wednesday's matchup?
Yeah, Coach, just when you mentioned Pimpleton, when you watch him return punts and make these plays, what specifically do you think that you need to do to keep him from doing that same thing to you?
We got to limit the opportunities first and foremost, right? As best we can. We got to limit the touches wherever we can. And then we got to get half of the football. We got to play with great leverage. And we got to play with great technique. One guy very rarely brings this guy to the ground. He has unbelievable ability, especially in the return game, to make the first guy miss. His short area quickness and his acceleration is some of the best that I've seen in a very long time. And his top end speed is elite. So you got to bottle him up. You got to confine his space as best you can. Obviously, there's a lot of space in the return game. And so we got to do a great job with that. But those are some of the things that immediately early on here in the plans and the preparation, shoot, hats to him. Be aware of where he's at and play with great leverage and know where your help's at and get guys to him. Because as one guy by himself, that's a tall order. That's a tall task to ask.
Another intriguing matchup here. It's pretty obvious when you guys run the ball well, you score a ton of points. It's been proven. Obviously, they're pretty good at stopping the run, and you mentioned the big plays that their defense can make. Just kind of talk about that matchup and what you guys need to do on that end.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's very cliche, and we can talk about it each week, right? But the game's won in the trenches, and again, it's a strength of our guys up front. It's a strength of their D line, and you can look to that early and often, to where whoever takes control of that aspect of the game probably is going to have an advantage in this contest.
Defensively, you guys, I think it's 20 turnovers now you've generated. I know their quarterback isn't throwing many picks, so that's another area, obviously, success when you win that turnover battle. Just talk about what you think you might need to do to kind of keep that going on the defensive end.
Yeah, again, I mean, it's a point of emphasis for us, the attitude and effort to get to the ball. I think the play that Nico made Wednesday night is a great example of that. I mean, that was play 15 of a 15-play drive, and his hustle to the ball and his ability to get that thing out and work a great technique and see the opportunity for a strip attempt and seize it, is awesome. So emphasizing those techniques and those fundamentals and seizing the moments and opportunities when they come. And then again, we got to do a great job, which we've done with Coach Kaufman and the defensive staff, of putting together a good plan, of presenting some pictures that has confused some quarterbacks that have generated those turnovers. So hopefully we can replicate that as we go forward and then take advantage of the opportunity when we get balls on hands the way that we have, and so that we can continue to lead the country in turnover margin.
My last one, just the build up here, man. It's like you played this huge game last week. Well, you just you win that and you make the next one as bigger. Just talk about what that's like, what you kind of the sense you get from your players and how special this is and how they're feeling and how they're handling it.
I mean, they're excited, right? And again, in saying that, I think the guys realize that, inside the building, these have always been the standards. These have always been the expectations going back to December 2017, that our identity that we created in all three phases is that we're going to have a confidence about us that when we do the work, we're going to work with in purpose. We're going to work with intention, and that's to be champions, right? And so before you can be recognized as a champion, you have to have those championship habits. You have to have a championship culture. Our guys have really leaned into that. And so we've talked about it a bunch, and we've trained our guys to be prepared for these opportunities that they're going to create. And because of that, now, there's not a whole big secret to it, that we need to keep doing the things that got us to this point. And we can't let the outside noise, so to speak, because it is a big game. I'm not downplaying that at all. But at the end of the day, the outcome of this opportunity, the outcome of this event, this situation that we've created, the outcome is going to be determined by our response and how we go out and how we handle this off day today and how we handle practice tomorrow morning and all the things that we're doing to recover so we can get ready to go play a really physical game and another 4-quarter action fight that we know it's going to be, right? So beyond all that, the only thing we can control is our preparation, our recovery, the way we're going to school, and handling all of our business in a championship manner. And if we continue to stack those days, moment after moment after moment, and we do it at a championship level, maybe we'll get recognized, in December as being champions. That's not a guarantee, but I know it is a guarantee. If we don't approach it as champions, ain't no way in hell we're going to be champions if we just kind of go about it like, it's same old same. We got to have that championship intent, that championship demeanor, and that championship habits with everything that we do, so we can go capitalize these moments that the guys have created. But I mean, they're hungry for them. They've created them. This is what we do all the work for.
Jack, any questions here regarding CMU coming up here?
Yeah, Coach, it seems like the last couple of weeks you've been talking about stopping the run with Ohio and Northern Illinois. Central Michigan, they do have a pretty good running back. He's had 4 straight 100-yard games, but they also throw for about 280 yards per game. So they're a very balanced offense. Just from the defensive end, how do you go about stopping a balanced attack rather than kind of focusing on one area like we've been talking about these last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I think you get, it gets really tough if you try and take away everything and you end up, kind of taking away nothing, right? So again, we keep the main thing, and just kind of as, Alan and Jack, you alluded to where, the numbers don't lie, to where when teams run the ball against us, which has been few and far between this year, right? Or when we run the ball well, we have success. It starts there. Again, like no matter, whether this is a November action game, it's September, or it's a spring scrimmage, if an offense can run the ball, it really allows them to do a lot of things, right? So we need to, again, even though they're a very balanced team, they have a dynamic tailback that if we don't slow him down first and foremost, and they have their 1-2 combo of being able to run and pass, it makes for a much more challenging contest against a really talented team. So again, our plan to win, it hasn't changed since January of 2018 when we started teaching it to the team, right? We want to control the controllables and all those things that we can do so that we give ourselves a chance to win. We want to run the ball, we want to kill the run, and we want to have more physical cover units. Again, it's cliche, it's coach speak. I've been saying it for 4 years, but it's cliche and it's coach speak because it works. And so we're going to lean into our plan. Again, that's what's gotten us here. And I ain't changing my date now that we're at the prom and things are getting, a little hot and bothered.
3 of Central Michigan's last 4 games have been decided by a field goal. So just knowing that the game's probably going to come down to one of the final possessions in the fourth quarter, just what do you guys need to do to ensure that you're going to be the team that ends up on top just in those moments down the stretch?
Got to do the next thing the right way with championship intent. I mean, so that when those moments come, and all these games, right? I mean, I think besides the Central game and the Western game, on Tuesday and Wednesday, every single action game came down to a 1-possession game, right? So that's what this league is. And so you have to get your mind around it first before anything else. It's a mindset before any sort of skill set. Embrace it. Get your mind right, get your emotions right, make sure your body's right, because it's going to be a 4-quarter battle. And then let's go prepare to win a 4-quarter fight. So that when you get in it, again, it's not surprising. Yep, this is what it is, right? And then you can lean into it and you have great focus so that no matter how hard it gets on your mind, body, or soul, you're a part of our Flash Fast family. You're going to go harder, longer, because that's what real toughness is. And at the end of the day, just like I said before, NIU, no matter what it looks like, let's find a way to score 1 more point than them, whatever that is. That's the name of the game right now. And let's go find a way in Mount Pleasant, in 6 days through our preparation to go score 1 more point than them. And if we do that, again, we'll all be on this call feeling all right about where we're at.
That's all for me. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Jack.
Coach, that should just about wrap everything up here for us. We'll let you keep retooling and getting ready for the chips on Wednesday.
Great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Go Flashes.